So in fact, if more people join today, what I was going to propose is that we go deeper into the faculties and we continue with what we did in March. We did a little bit of an overview, and we had one video that we saw across a week. It was, everybody could see it at their own pace. And then we came up on Wednesdays to discuss based on that video, on what the topic was on that video. And I think that would again give us some sort of a systemized, program to look forward to and deepen our work in the faculties, the more I work with the children at AHA, the more I feel the need to understand this. And there is a pressure to have assessment.
Oh, this assessment, yeah. So with assessment, you have to understand, and everybody most probably, that for the market-oriented economy, assessment means the efficacy of work and fulfilling certain tasks, finishing certain capacity in certain kind of like robot-like, machine-like. But now, with the development of technologies and AI especially, the mental labor, which we were kind of valuing so much in human beings, is losing its grip. It's like a heavy burden, heavy digging holes. We have excavators. We don't need to be efficient in digging holes. Yeah? So that value of human beings disappeared already. And now on the new stage, we will have a totally different approach to human beings, because the value of mental labor, mechanical calculators are there. So you don't need to be good in calculation. So I'm speaking about even more so, AI has access to all the data on internet and can in a second give you all the access and even organize it in the way you want it. So that particular skill, which is acquired by the industrial age, is going away, fading away. So what would be the new set of skills? I'm thinking, and this would be IPK, the faculties of consciousness, how you can, in any given circumstances or context, find the answer and understand what is going on and engage and feel and comprehend what is going on. Can you comprehend things in the environment you've never been? That means you engage with faculties. Yes, you can go into any environment, any context, and be at home. This is a new level of development. Yeah? Of course, it's not acquired yet, because there is inertia from industrial age. There's money involved which wants to stop all this progress, doesn't want to lose its grip over human beings. It wants them to be professionals in a very narrow field and pay them money for that, and be uneducated in a holistic way. They don't want full development of human beings. For that, we need time, space, and understanding of what we are doing. And that, Auroville was meant to be that. That's why we are trying to do it here. You can't do it in the world. In the world, you have to be proficient in what you do. Otherwise, you will not make your living. In Auroville, it had to be free and disconnected from the making a living, where you could try things out, learn about yourself through the action. So I'm kind of repeating myself again and again. I'm saying the same story, but now AI is another very interesting thing, or Google for that matter. You don't need to go to the library, spend the whole day finding the reference. Yeah. Why Aurovillans are always late? Is it something? Well, I'm not used to it anymore. I am in the US. So if time is not fitting for us to meet this time, we can choose another time, later, whatever. Earlier not, later is better.
So, Vladimir, we've had two meetings this
You
last
already had. Okay.
Halloween.
Hi, Ines. Ines. There was a Tres hojitas madre tiene árbole. It's Ines, the song about Ines. That's where I know you from. Tres
Did you know?
Oh, she must know this song. Do you know? Tres hojitas madre tiene árbole. This is so sad. Oh my God, such a sad song. Anyhow, I hope.
Yeah. So, Vladimir, we've had two meetings, open house meetings, where Sire and the foundation called people in Oroville to speak on education. And of course, it went all over the place. But at least from what I perceived in the meetings, a lot of people turned up, and people, what you just said, whether they understand it in the way that you just said, but the parents who spoke and some of the long-time teachers who spoke, they value exactly this. They value the fact that we don't in Oroville have are training children for any sort of certification, that we're not training them to be assessed against a parameter that is established already.
Absolutely.
And a few parents came up and said why they value Oroville education and what it means. And some of the things that were common to all, no matter how they put it, one was this idea of knowing oneself, that is at the core of Oroville. Oroville's the experience of a child in Oroville. That is the core. Whether the child is in school or engaging in community, this is valued in the community, that the child knows about himself or herself. So that was a very, very dominant idea, and everybody sharing. The second was this idea of the strong resistance to having children fall into the pattern that we already know in the mainstream. So although it wasn't a very positive, but the negative approach to it, that no, we don't need children to be assessed according to that. The third was that every time somebody spoke about a child qualifying for higher education abroad, or flying with flying colors through some examination, that isn't what a parent said was of value at all. But when the child chose to do it, was also capable of doing it, and we value that if he hadn't or she hadn't chosen to do that in some. What I'm saying is, as a community, these two or three things were so common. And so I think whatever way we've taken in the last few years or 20 years, this is still being held. I mean, people still in Orville value this. It is then when I sit at the SIA school board meetings, it's so easy for the way you put it, because you've done this for so many years, and is you put it in a way everybody's grappling with terms, but I think they value exactly what you're saying, because I hear people talking about it. They've been grappling with finding assessment. At one level, they know they're doing just what is needed to be done, but they cannot justify it to the outside. And although everybody has done it in their own way and there have been many mistakes, but a year ago I had a different, I don't doubt the sincerity and the effort of most educators in Oroville.
Yeah.
Most educators at an individual level have been sincere to what they have known and have tried to stay away from what we know in the outside world to be education. And they've been so much more open to allowing something new or something different too. And it could be that, they were mistakes, but I still think the fact that it was done sincerely and it was done with an attempt to actually, one, just be as child centric as they understood it sincerely. So, having said all this, I really think it's so, and they're all coming together now. For the first time, all of them, there are at least 2 or 3 people saying at a SIA board meeting, we are not here to find faults with the other. And they're actually shutting up people who are crossing that line of saying, you did this, you're not doing that, you need to do this, and people are standing up for the others and saying, okay, let's get past that. Let's just focus on what is the good and let's move on. I think it's important to see that they're coming together, because that wasn't what I've known of. Most cyborg meetings, so what I've heard is so administrative, so much to do with just pointing fingers, finding faults, saying no.
Sure, even Lagros, even last school was not accepted by Sayer, was banished. There are many schools were banished by Sayer. Sayer had took one direction, which was more official, less this mother's free progress school method, much less. Now it is kind of looking for nuances. We have to understand what is coming. That it is inevitable. It's not something you want to do. Yeah, it is inevitable. It will happen in the world. You may be late for it. Yes, as Auroville is late for many things. Yeah, the world already achieved certain things which you can't imagine. Yeah, so Auroville thinks that they are still doing something. Innovative work. They are living in 60s. Their architecture is in 60s. Their thoughts are in 60s. The world progressed already, moved forward. There are different types of AI. So you have different personalities. We have a person with us who builds now the AI machine. He gave it a name already. It is named as a person because it's a personality. He builds the brain for AI with Sri Aurobindo's letters on yoga, mother's questions and answers. He put all the data into the machine in such a way that it will look at everything what is happening with the eyes of this knowledge. So you can build the knowledge, and if you discuss something with this machine, you will be surprised how deep it answers. You would not believe that this is the machine. It talks to you with a wisdom which you cannot even comprehend. So I'm saying that this other labor, this mental labor which we valued, calculation, reading, grammar, languages, in that format, in the format of application to the industrial age, is gone. This will be done by machines again, by software. Information is not a taboo. It's available. Take it. You can't take it. Why? Because your faculties are weak. We cannot comprehend so much overload of information because we are not made for this. We were made very narrow, very specific to one particular. I'm a carpenter all my life. That's it. And when you ask me something else, I have no idea what you are talking about. So this has to go. This orientation to the third person inquiry method, to the objective world viewing as if it is the whole thing, and I am only instrumental to it, has to change. It's me who has the capacity to know everything and anything, and I have to develop that capacity. I can be a carpenter. In 5 minutes, I can learn the skill because I understand how it works. My body is flexible enough. My mind is very easy to focus on anything. It can hold the focus, and by concentration, I can acquire the skill. So I don't need the skill. I don't need to carry it with me and sell everywhere because I have one skill, which I acquired through all my life. No, I need a flexibility where I can acquire any possibilities, any skills. So that is the IPK. IPK is building the personality which will be able to find or comprehend all contexts in the subjective way, yes, but in a true subjective way. So this is
the way. That is the only way. Otherwise, we are extinct with AI taking over like this. If we don't start living fully with our faculties, then there will, and it's such a drab world. What will we enjoy anymore? I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be just, yeah.
Somebody even asked AI to write a project proposal. You cannot imagine how nicely it is written with all because it knows how to write project proposal. Ask AI. It will give you for free. Yeah. You have to pay huge money for such a detailed project proposal. You put your data in what you want and it will arrange it for you. So I want to say that these machines, mental machines, are not really consciousness. They're just the same instrumental, because mind is also only instrumental. Mind is not consciousness. It's the same as physical work. When we discovered the wheel, we stopped carrying a heavy burden, because the wheel could carry in the cart. But now we discovered another wheel in the mind, which will allow us to carry all the mental information, because it's also mechanical connections, these syntax or structures, building structures, structural semantics is not consciousness. Yeah? It's nature. It belongs to nature. Consciousness is comprehension, and comprehension these machines do not have. They are excellent in apprehensive operations. So they would do the work which is difficult for us. But to comprehend, we have to learn to comprehend. We have to engage differently with the world. And this is the shift. It's a demand of time. Yes, we will be out of job, all of us, very soon. There will be nothing for us to do. We will be blah, 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 our old stuff, which nobody needs. But to develop a consciousness in another way, capable of understanding and engaging in every environment, this is what I want to see. I want to see the result where the human being can involve it. Yeah, I can try myself. We did try this with Natalia, for example. What we did is amazing. We took Sri Aurobindo's books, because Sri Aurobindo did something very close to IPK. He wrote several books which are in a particular approach to knowledge. Yeah? Like Life Divine is written in a particular metaphysical approach. Yeah? It's like metaphysics, like philosophical approach. Yeah? Synthesis was written totally in different approach, psychological. So philosophical view of the world, how everything relates, Life Divine, and psychological synthesis. And synthesis is about how you have to deal with this reality in different ways. So it gives you many, many answers, many, many tools, many approaches in that synthesis. So we have philosophical, psychological in Sri Aurobindo. We have linguistic, future poetry, and of course the philological approach in the Veda. The whole philological huge volume came out. Philological studies by Sri Aurobindo. That means linguistics, how we operate by the word, poetic word connecting to the different levels of consciousness and so on. This is future poetry, and Savitri is the example of that usage of the word. And also, of course, etymological approach to languages, which he did, all his studies. Then we have human cycle and the ideal of human unity, sociological approach to knowledge, or historical, which is very different. It's exactly in our IPK. So we see, so what we did with Natalia, for example, we took the text, for example, the human cycle, or the ideal of human unity in that sense, and we started to read it with this view, how this approach works. Instead of reading what he says, we read how he does it. We read how he conveys in the most pure way this approach to sociological studies. Yeah, that would be the major kind of thread through. It's an amazing thing, because you will learn from Sri Aurobindo what it means. You would feel the difference. And that feeling of the difference within you is building up the awareness of a particular approach. Yeah? So you will feel what is to be the metaphysical, psychological. You will learn how to think historically, sociologically. And then even with art, he has the Foundations of Indian Culture, where he examines art, different forms of art. It's an amazing artistic approach. You will see how differently he looks at art with artistic approach, you know, as a creator, as someone who wants to express in form and sound the truth of the reality. You know, this is the artistic approach you would learn from him. And finally, he is also a scientist. There are many scientific evidence here and there. There is no scientific separate book. But all these are our 6 major approaches to knowledge, built on 6 major faculties of consciousness, of seeing, hearing, yeah? Of thinking, seeing, thinking, speaking, hearing, feeling, artistic approach, and body awareness. So looking at the world with objective eye. So we take only scientific approaches valid. Other 5 are hidden behind. They're non-existent. So we want to revive them. We want to become aware of them and build up a systematic kind of approach to the education of integral personality. Once that personality is aware of all the approaches, it can combine them, re-engage them, engage oneself in different ways. Be free to explore, not to be confined to particular definitions of scientific objective viewing. No, there is also psychological understanding. There is also philosophical vision of the whole. There is also expression, self-expression of linguistic part, how you express yourself, how he expresses, how everything is expressing itself, in what form, in what language, how it communicates that need of itself to interact with the rest. So these things we do not learn. Yeah? We learn only one, that there is a reality, and then you have to fit into it somehow. Yeah? And that's what we try all our life. We have a one approach. So this is something which we can learn also from Sri Aurobindo. That's what I want to say. It's an amazing treat. I can lead these studies. We can go deeper into it, but this is for higher education. I thought this would be the higher education in the future, nothing else. Not learning some, how atoms connect, because all this knowledge, how atoms connect, or whatever, objective knowledge, yes, is only 1/6 part of what we have to learn. It's a scientific approach to knowledge. It cannot be all. It excludes us from the process of learning. I was pushed into this corner to discover this. This is actually my discovery in my life by my teacher in the university. I was studying Indology and Vedic texts, and I was so inspired by them, and my presentation was so kind of, I couldn't stop talking. So they gave me 5 minutes and I spoke 45 minutes. So, and then at the end she comes and she says, to know fish, you don't need to be fish. Meaning that I don't need to be, Vedic Rishi in order to know hymns. And I disagree with this totally. This is scientific approach, cutting us off from the very treasure of knowledge. Yeah? I have to be fish to know fish. I cannot know fish by dissecting it. This is not knowledge. It's 1/6 of the knowledge, objective part. But there are hidden more parts, the beauty of artistic, the communication and social life of fish, sociological history of its evolutionary development. Fish expresses itself, speaks its language. It has its language. And if I know how it expresses itself, I know something very special. I know subjectively how it wants, what it wants, and so on, and even philosophical and psychological approach, because I identify myself as fish and I become fish in that moment of time. Knowledge by identity. I know how fish feels, what it wants, how it views the world, and this beauty of identity is actually that what we are looking for. Mother did this identification with flowers, with cherries. She knew how cherry feels, even with things which are not animated. So I'm not pushing that far. I want to stop at this level of holistic development. Don't want to make it mystical, because people may object, oh, this is mysticism, religion. It's not religion. It's all we have. We don't have anything else. We have our speech, our mind, our feelings, our seeing, hearing, touch. No? Do we have something else? No. This is the toolbox. So why don't we develop it? It's simple. It's really simple. A toolbox. And thinking, knowledge is something which is given to you, some information. Information is no knowledge at all. It's just information. How you understand it is knowledge. Your comprehension.
So, Vladimir, I have a very basic question because I've read a few of your notes. So, this comprehension and apprehension, if you can elaborate a little more, because I'm really grappling with it. It's a very basic thing. So, without actually getting comprehension and apprehension, I can't. One was that. And the second, while you were talking right now, all of IPK, that you see it more for higher education. But when I work with little children, I see that if in the higher education, when I actually understand education, or I understand IPK in whatever way, it makes me a better person to be engaged with, or more capable, not a better, a more capable person to be engaged with the early childhood. Because early childhood, there is little or nothing we need to do over there. But if I'm more capable, then I give those experiences more chance for this holistic growth to start happening, or that experiences to start working right from that age, right for the tiny tots. But it's only if I am first capable of it myself, that I can open that door for the little ones. So I see it actually related, because if you then do it there, you give them, you have within the school environment, they have these little, the number of times that I step back when I'm with the children, I allow for a more holistic experience for them, whether they are engaging within themselves or engaging with anything in the environment. The more I just kind of am present there, just like a witness, or just like even actually engaging just with my faculties, seeing and listening to them.
Absolutely.
They just do things so much more. They're just into it. That's the only thing I can say. They are into that experience. They are doing it. They're with the sand. They're with the clay. They're with the worm. And they're just seeing and feeling and everything. They're just engaged completely. But for that, as an adult, it's so important for me to just, one, step back, be present, and if possible, also engage myself, but from that distance. So I think it is so important. But yes, I want to understand, comprehend. If you can elaborate on those two
what you
terms.
said is very true. What IPK does to us is something interesting, because once you engage with the toolbox, with the faculties, what happens is that to really comprehend the faculties, to see how they work, you have to step back. You can't do otherwise. So you are not dealing with objective reality with which these faculties deal. You deal with faculties. You observe them, how they act. So you want to be aware, when you speak, to be aware of your speech, which is a new faculty. Yeah? So to say, you are no more driven by impulse. You have an impulse. You can see the impulse, but you are not obliged to obey the impulse. You get the free will. You see the impulse.
And also habit. It's not just
the habit. You see the habit. Yeah, this is my habit. Okay, I can change. You can choose. Because you engage with faculties in this way, so to say, consciously, can you imagine, you activate consciously your impulses, faculties, and you see how they work. So you speak and you are aware of your speech. You're conscious of your speech. You hear and you are conscious of your hearing, how you hear, how deep it is, how not deep it is. So it is a new stage of our development, so to say. And also you can observe how others are doing it. It's not what we do, it's what for we do or how we do it. So as Gita would say, that all the action here in the world we do only for one thing, for knowledge experience. All the actions are the actions of these faculties. There are no other actions. Again, it's an amazing thing. We never thought. We thought we are active and faculties are somewhere else. No, it's faculties who are active. It's these. They are leading the whole being. That's what you see. What you hear. So this is your choice to become aware and to become conscious of how you engage. And that generates that stepping back and seeing that these are instruments by which you act in the world. Then it gives you a sense of you, true you. Yes, witness. You will be the one who will be activating faculties, changing them, redirecting them, observing their activities, less than the result, what they create. Result also, but only 1/6 part of you will be there. Why I said it's for higher education, for other reason, because approaches to knowledge is for higher education, like philosophy, psychology, linguistics, sociology, art, and science of nature. It's not for the kindergarten, yes, so to say, yet. But the approaches will stay. They will be formulated. How to view anything psychologically, how to view anything philosophically, how to view anything linguistically. That means self-expression and communication skills. Yeah? How to view anything historically on the scale of time, or sociologically on the scale of space. So this has to be developed artistically, how to express beauty through your inner being, outside, in the form, in the sound, in movement, in action. It's all art. It's all culture. How to make it beautiful, blissful. And finally, science of nature. What is it? Yes? What is that matter about? How it works objectively, totally. Okay, this is the spark. It creates the energy. All right, I know it objectively, but it is not the full knowledge. Yeah, it's this spark is outside, is only 1/6 of the knowledge we have to have. It's all there, hidden. It's only the tip of the iceberg. So this is about approaches, why I said, because these are the humanities. And the major subjects of humanities are these 6 or 5 at least. Psychology, philosophy, linguistics, sociology, history, and art, culture, and science. So if you look at this, you can recombine them and see that you can be psychological in any of these domains. You can make them domains, or you can have an approach. So approach and domains being combined, you will have, I don't know, history of philosophy, yeah? Or psychology of art. So you will start playing this, and you will see that all the varieties of sciences or subjects, disciplines in the world are the combinations of these 6 and nothing else. Once you arrive at this, you will be surprised. Why? Because behind these approaches are the major faculties, seeing, hearing. Because of that, we are limited. We have a limited toolbox, and we have limited approaches to knowledge, which, when combined, create all the infinite varieties of. Infinite varieties, kind of a wrong word for our mind. We think that they are infinite varieties. They are finite. And once I started to notice this, I was free, really. Because you can, by knowing which approach is engaged, for example, you read Hegel and you know what he is doing. Once you know what he is doing, he can understand what he wants to say. Otherwise, you will have to spend 25 years reading Hegel without really getting any idea what it is all about. You will learn his language, you will learn his literature, whatever he wrote, but you will never know how he was driven. But if I am subjectively identified with the drive, I immediately understand. I don't need to spend many years to understand. The same with linguistics, the same with art. They have even this proverb in Japan, that the one who understands the art is the same artist as the artist who created this, because he identified himself with the subjective approach of the artist. He knows what was driving him to express that particular thing. So here, where we are going in this direction. We want to know things subjectively, from within out. Yes, once we know it, we know it. We can engage. We don't need to remember anything. We are not machines manipulating with information in order to get some money and to live afterwards. So this is old paradigm. A new paradigm, you are engaged in everything you do, see, interact. And it's a very rich and interesting world. An interesting life, much more interesting than just mechanically earn money as a slave, doing something without understanding, and then go and eat at home. Yeah, it's not this type. So this slavery has to go. It's a freedom. It's a way to freedom. IPK is the way to free the consciousness of human beings from the grip of that mechanical possession by money. Money is a very conscious force. It would resist this. It resists already. You can see what institutions are doing. All the best institutions, they are trying to stop this holistic development of man. No, be professor of very narrow kind of this, medieval history in Italy. You are the best professor of that. Deliver your lectures, and that's it. Forget about your holistic development. Forget about knowing everything, because this is dangerous. Once you are that being, you may not be interested to sell your labor. You will love life as it is. So, this is the danger of IPK, that it contradicts the whole trend of, what economic trend. That's why Mother wanted Auroville, again back to the Mother, where she says, it will be the place where where the sovereign lord, money as a sovereign lord, would have no grip over people. This is exactly that, to free people, to free their creativity, to free their consciousness. And for that we need to engage with the toolbox of consciousness. These are the major instruments of consciousness. So we, instead of engaging with making money, we engage with making ourselves capable of dealing with reality. Yeah, and it is built on the Upanishadic knowledge, which makes it even more valuable and precious. Upanishads dealt with this. And why it is precious? Because it taps into the depth of Indian historical consciousness, evolutionary. So it can revive the whole nation, because it is all inbuilt there. It needs some different view or different approach to it, different usage of this knowledge. And that has become... Yes, Ines, you want to say something?
No? Yes, I wanted to ask, because it's been on my mind a lot lately, the qualities that the mother defined as the 12 more important. How do we connect them to these approaches? Are they, because I kind of feel we can connect them to all in different ways, but I would like to hear what you have to say about it.
It's a good question. Basically, there are two major toolboxes. One is the faculties. They are more how consciousness operates, kind of. And the other is these qualities. And they are not a toolbox. They are the blissful presence. They are ananda. They are coming from the bliss of our soul. This is the light of the inner being. And of course, it charges these faculties. It makes them more efficient, more precise, more active, or more truer. It makes them truer. That's what I was thinking. So how? For example, sincere speech is better than perfect speech which is not sincere, is it not? Yeah. There are people who speak very well, but they are not sincere. They don't even know what it is. They just combine. So you can be a very good, well-developed robot with faculties, but that is not enough. It's a machine. Consciousness is a technology of consciousness, we can say. Technology of consciousness is faculties, how to operate in speech, in mind, how to be aware of it. And these verities is the psychic being qualities, which are enlightening. So you can be sincere in your thought process, sincere in your speech, sincere in your feelings, sincere in your hearing, not just pretending to hear, sincere in your seeing, not just pretending, oh, I see, I know. Okay, good. So it gives you, I took one sincerity, but you can take all of them and you will see that humbleness, also humility, the perseverance of them, also aspiration in them.
Latamir, we can't hear you. Ines, can you hear?
No, it stopped after aspiration.
Okay, I'm back. It's after 1 hour already. It's switched off my machine. Yes, and if you see this, then you understand how they overlap. But the qualities are coming from this, what in the Veda was known as Dvipad. Dvipad and Chatushpad. There are two Dvipade, Chatushpade all the time in all the mantras, and they translate for human beings and animals. But Sri Aurobindo says it's not so. Dvipad is the psychic being and the Jivatma. And Chatushpad is physical, vital, mental, and supramental. And if you look at this, it will give you a sense what these two are. So Chatushpad is connected with technology of consciousness, seeing, hearing, speaking on each of these levels. Mind, there is supermind, there is higher mind, there is rational mind, there is physical mind, there is vital mind, mind to mind, mind everywhere. There is the same with seeing. There is eyeballs, physical seeing, there's vital seeing, mental seeing, supramental, drishti, revelation. Yeah? Eye is on all the 4 levels. So this is the technology. The Purusha is present throughout all the levels, from the top to the bottom. But psychic being is a direct intruder from the beyond, from the Ananda. Yeah? And it brings with it these eternal dharmas as the delight of existence. By the way, our happiness depends on these verities. If we are sincere, we are happy. If we are truly humble, if you're truly humble, you will be so happy. Nothing can touch you, nothing can move you, nothing can hit you. You are not criticizing anyone. You see the truth. You feel the presence of the truth, which is vaster, bigger than anything what is happening around you. This is humility. Huh? So these are the powers of the soul directly from the transcendental, from the Sat Chit Ananda Vijnana. These are the powers of Maheshwari, Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati. These are the Sat Chit Tapas Ananda, or Sat Chit Ananda Vijnana. Mahasaraswati is Vijnana supermind. So if you look at those 4 major powers, 4 varnas, they are beaming with these qualities. Maheshwari is beaming with sincerity and humility. Mahalakshmi with perseverance and aspiration. Mahakali with progress and courage. You recognize immediately the qualities, yes? And the Mahasaraswati with generosity and equality. So, and in between there are connections, but these are the major fundamental faculties, or let's say verities of our soul. These are the properties of the transcendental, which were brought into this manifestation to help this technology of consciousness to grow.
Vladimir, I just had an aha moment, because when you say that the faculties are the technology and the verities are like the energy or that which nourishes the faculties. So for me, again, in my role as a facilitator, engaging with my faculties is a capacity that somewhere I've lost, and I'm trying to. But the verities come to rescue. The more I nourish my own self in my understanding and, living in those 12 qualities, or trying to enhance those within me, which I think, at least I find that it's a little more than engaging in my faculties. The more I become, or the more I try to do that, the more I become capable of becoming a true facilitator. Because if I am nourishing my own self, then I'm also, in my presence, will nourish that of those little ones. So for me, this became like a big aha that maybe in the training of the facilitators, working with the verities would be would be maybe a far more near to far than directly working with the faculties.
No, both. You cannot do one. You see, how would you express these verities if not through the mind, through thought, through feeling, through speech, through how they would not be able to reach to the
Agreed. They will impact. What I'm trying to say is, when I speak with my facilitators, co-facilitators, the verities seem a little more something that one can comprehend and work with. So something like staying with aspiration or generosity, and we're just reading Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and we also find it that the way Mother is, the quotes and all that are so much more. Then actually getting to read about the faculties and understanding how we engage. What I'm trying to say is, if I work with the Verities, they will anyways impact my technology, my
absolutely.
tools. Yeah, they will anyways, and that's what I'm saying. It for me, the aha was that it will be a far more near to far approach when I work with the Verities, instead of getting them to understand the faculties of consciousness and the
Oh no,
supramental.
absolutely, especially for
Yeah.
the smaller kids. Yes.
Yes, and I think
Stories, you can create stories, films, which are generating this kind of feeling what it means to be really true. Notice how we are watching movies. All of us, there is a story frame, yeah, but story is story. It's like the same story all the time. It ends with love and happily ever after. Yes? We know the end. But we want to see what happens exactly with these qualities. We want to see where he was sincere. We want to see where she was humble. And that nourishes us. That makes us feel the movies. I noticed that I'm always tracing this, Also what we read exactly for that purpose. We want to see those qualities enacted, alive. And if they are not, then this was a boring story. There's nothing there.
Yeah, I wanted to say that one of the reasons I asked this question about the qualities is because I think what I feel is so close to what Nilima just said, like in the nursery. And also because I noticed that when you speak about the faculties, whenever I have aha moments, whenever there is this deeper comprehension that comes where I relate my experience to what you're saying, and I feel that, oh, okay, I'm totally understanding this. It always comes from moments or experiences where I was more connected with these faculties, with these deeper values in my life. So my experience tells me that when I am more connected with them, I am more connected with the faculties. Like with these bigger forces outside of me, I am more aware of what's going on inside and outside of me. I'm more aware of observing that in the children. And by doing so, I'm more able to intervene or to support them in the way they naturally are asking me to already. Because I do feel that they are naturally curious. My daughter right now, she's completely exploring stories, creativity. She's mixing reality with things she imagines and with information she goes and gets from everywhere together. She lives that so deeply. And now she realized that when I read books, there's written parts of it because I repeat the sentences again. So now suddenly she wants to learn the letters, and I don't have to do anything. I just need to support her and to help her because it's coming from her.
Yeah.
And what I do know is that when I am more connected with these qualities, when I nurture them in myself more, I'm able to connect to her level and to her needs so much more easily. It's automatic. If I'm disturbed and I'm not there and I'm in my own mental space, it never happens. And when I hear all this talk about the faculties, it's exactly the same. Where I feel there is development inside me from all our sessions when I connect with that. So it's really a support.
Yeah. By the way, that's why we have Sri Aurobindo and the mother together in this yoga. I wanted to say this also, that Sri Aurobindo is that consciousness which knows how to act, yeah? And the mother is that bridge between the transcendental in this world through these very verities. This is the bridge. This is that, golden bridge which connects the transcendental Ananda to this world directly. Sri Aurobindo even says this eternal dharmas, he calls them, eternal dharmas, yes, like sincerity, humility, and because they, once we experience them, once the child experiences, I will speak about us because children and us is the same here. And I don't distinguish them from us. But you see how children are when you start reading them story, how they are immediately attentive, how they are interested, deeply concentrated. They are looking within. They are looking for that quality, that very thing which will nourish them. So he says, when you experience those dharmas once in your life, you will never be able to get rid of it. You will always be drawn to it. Once you had true courage or true generosity or something, you will never be able to forget. You will be drawn to it because that delight is so full that you never have this delight in your ordinary life. So you want it again and again. This is what is blissful about these qualities. Yeah? It's actually the way to happy life. If we could manifest a few of them, we would be very happy. Yes.
Vladimir, this morning, so the children have just come to school. And so we have some parents who are still staying on campus. And Ines knows this family, Michael and Sarah. So Michael comes with his flute. He is learning the flute. So this child's father who's there, he just comes, he sits under the tree and he's doing his own flutes. He's learning the flute. So he's continuously, for 3 hours, he's playing the flute. And so we just have this ready-made, beautiful music happening in the campus. And Michael is really sincerely doing it. He's oblivious to anything else except when his son goes to him once in a while. This morning we had another child who broke all our understanding of this ability of children to concentrate for, 10 minutes, 15 minutes at that age. This child is so mesmerized, so he is just seeing Michael, hearing the music, and he was there for half an hour and we clocked it because he's been doing it every day, this other child, that he just sits there and it's not, he finds his own moment when he's there and he is just sitting there. He is looking without a blink. He's seeing what Michael is doing. He's listening. He's the music. If you were to just look at that child, you could see that the music is just flowing all over him. And it went on for half an hour this morning.
So he is actually your teacher. He gives you the example how to perceive music, action, yes, how to look within, from within, without. Yeah, absolutely.
And what I feel when I listen to music or a flute especially, I mean, you cannot not be touched if you're a little open. Such a sheer gratitude and joy you feel when you have this music and see this child. I mean, those moments are just, what else? That is living fully. What else do I want? I mean, nothing is comparable to have lived that moment with that child and that experience. There's nothing else.
In that moment of time, yes, it's absolutely so. But there is another moment coming on the way, and there's another way to engage. Another opening is to be made. And it is constantly making openings, constantly deepening the perception. So these qualities and faculties, they go hand in hand, yes? But we have separate them for the sake of being aware of what they are and how to learn to engage with them, to activate them in our lives. Because this is the way to our realization, but in the body, not beyond, not cutting everything from the activities in order to fall blank beyond and then see that you are mukta and that's it, and never to be able to come back. It's not our path. Our path is to bring the spirit from within to the surface. And these are the instruments, what we are trying to build. We have to develop our capacity of speech and to be conscious in speech. We have to develop our capacity of thought, concentration, silencing the mind. These are all tools, toolbox, how to develop the mind. We need to develop the vital feelings, emotions, sensations. We have to deal with them. We have to be aware of how they operate. And this is a bit different from these sincerity, humility. Yes, they are more direct. They are not a toolbox. They are rather a presence of the truth in us. So once we see this, we are never bewildered again. Dvipad in Chatushpad of the Veda, the best explanation by Sri Aurobindo. This connection and 4 levels of our evolutionary development of the faculties. Because faculties build the Purusha. It is them built. But the Purusha itself is the psychic, these verities inside. It is his heart, his core. Yeah, it's very good that we again revisited these two, because that is IPK. IPK is these two. Yes, one, you can develop faculties very well, but be asuric being. So to say, operate perfectly and kill everyone perfectly and know everything and be excellent in speech, in mind, sharp. But if you lack these inequalities of the soul, this becomes a very sharp machine.
Is it impossible, Vladimir?
It's hardly possible, but I'm making this black and white that we would distinguish. But if you develop these inner qualities, then can you imagine you are totally developed with inequalities? There are cases where you're totally developed, but you don't have faculties. Your instruments are not developed. So what happens then? So you become like Ramakrishna, He needs Vivekananda. He calls for Vivekananda because Vivekananda developed his faculties much more. So, and then Vivekananda takes that light, inner light, and brings to the world, and it's much more efficient. Look what Sri Aurobindo did. Totally developed, high quality development of the faculties. And with this opening, whoa, what you can do. You can change the world. But if you have one or the other, it's never good enough, let us say, for our purpose, for integral yoga. It's better to start with these verities, definitely. Yes, Pete?
I wanted to say something. I was listening about the qualities, and you mentioned the Purusha in the heart. I'm pretty much convinced that this Purusha in the heart and this inner discovery of the psychic being should be the main thing, the main foundation for the rest of the work to unfold and to manifest his inner light and connect from above.
Yeah. Sri Aurobindo also came to this. This is the easiest way to explain, though he went other route. He started with the consciousness from above, and then when Mother arrived, he changed his yoga and made it focused on the psychic being. Though, even there, on the highest spiritual level, these are two complementary things. And in 1940, he even changed the chapter in Life Divine, adding to the ideas that psychic awakening is enough because it knows the truth, it will not err, it will lead us to the truth. So it knows it, But then he changed and he said that psychic being too long with the human beings has certain kind of weaknesses or preferences for the human suffering and so on, and may err in a way. if only psychic is there. It needs the support of the greater consciousness from above, impersonal, universal consciousness. Once it is supported by that, there's nobody can make them do wrong things. So in a way, we are talking about very complex matters where faculties and verities have to go together. In case we don't develop these verities, even development of faculties would be an excellent topic for the education. They do this already. They want to develop the faculties. Yes, your faculty of speech, your faculty of language, your faculty of communication, writing skills. Is it not? Yes, they're already doing it, and we want to do it, but consciously, and we want to bring the element of the verities into it and make it complete. I'm simplifying now. Yes, the psychic is first. But suppose you don't have psychic opening first, and you had the presence over the head. The Shakti started to descend into you, as it happened with Pavitra. What will you do then? He didn't know about his psychic, but he received the force from above. It started to descend, and when it came deeper down, it opened the psychic in him, and he became aware of it. But it was discovered after the descent of power. So there are many ways, but the preferable one is this, what you say. Psychic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sri Aurobindo himself went not from the psychic. It's only Mother arrived. And he explains to Amrita, in his letter through Amrita to some sadhak, there is a letter where he says, why there are two? He says, my presence is from above the head, over the mental and vital consciousness, and Mother's is from within the heart, psychic, over the vital and physical consciousness. And that's why there are two. Because to connect that higher consciousness to the physical, the bridge is to be there, and bridge is psychic. Without psychic, that supramental consciousness can never reach the physical. That higher transcendental will never touch the physical. That's what he, in his own yoga, he describes this. He said he came to the highest consciousness and then he saw the gap, that it has no connection with the physical. You cannot bring that light to the physical, and he didn't know how to do it. Physical was by itself, separate creation, as it were. There was an abyss between the higher light and the physical manifestation, until Mother arrived. And then he saw that bridge. That's why he calls her the Golden Bridge, because she bridged that with this. And all those qualities are the means of that bridge. They are bridging us to the transcendental. They bring the true delight of existence into action. So Mother's symbol is this.
Excellent.
Psychic.
Thank you.
Yes, psychic symbol, and Sri Aurobindo's symbol is this more about faculties of consciousness or technology of consciousness. It's a good word, technology. It's a bit technological. Yeah? Speech, mind, it's a technology of consciousness. But we must develop it. We must deal with it. And on that ground, we have different sciences, the approaches to knowledge, philosophy, psychology, this, that. It's interesting, how we build up the worlds. Mother and Sri Aurobindo together. I hope I didn't confuse you. Nilima looks very serious.
No, this was
Well,
new.
for me, it's very clear.
Sorry, Petro. Go on.
No, I, from what Vladimir said, for me is excellent, very clear. Thank you.
It should be clearer why and how they interact. Once we understand this, we understand everything. What is there here to understand? There's nothing else to understand, only just to engage and develop. Much to do.
I'll just see the recording of the last part again, I think. I'll do it tomorrow.
There is, if you want to view it from the mythological point of view, Indian, there is the Vishnu and Shiva, if you want. Shiva and his son Agni are rising from below. They are building the whole body. This is Chatushpad, level upon level. Yeah, they are building the whole evolutionary process till the supermind, to the transcendental. Agni is rising, supporting all nature from within, building all the instruments of knowledge. This is that technology, divine technology. And there is the Vishnu's influence from above with Indra's lightning and connection to the Antaryamin, to the psychic being. That's why we have Vishnu with avatars, and we have Vishnu evolutionary development of the soul, yes, and the instruments for the soul, and that is embryonic life. And we have Vishnu also in the form of Krishna, small baby, and so on, who is growing. You will never have baby Shiva, yes? Shiva was never baby. He was always adult from the beginning. So, but this baby development, the psychic development, yeah, is connecting. This is Dvipad, and Chatushpad is that grand development of the whole nature with all the faculties involved. Because we all share the faculties, the whole world. Animal kingdom has sight, hearing, touch, movement, as we have. Yeah? That's why Shiva is called Pashupati. He possesses all that perception of consciousness in nature. You will see, and also Kundalini Shakti, Shiva Lingam, it is that power which is rising from below, that sexual drive which pushes whole evolution forward, and this kind of love from the heart, yes, of towards Vishnu, which is very different, contradictory to the sexual drive. They are not going together, as Mother says. There is a difference between the two. You know, there is a war, 1,000 years war between Shiva and Vishnu, who will dominate, and nobody can dominate, because both are needed. Chatushpad and Dvipad are needed. Both are needed. This is the complexity of our life. So you can see many more things. We can discuss them later, some other time, because it's already over time.
Yes, I think we all hungry.
All right. Okay, guys. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Vladimir. This was beautiful. And it's just when you kind of put it all together, although it's difficult for me to still see. So I'm going to see the last part again. But it's like a song where everything's coming
it's
together.
all we have. We don't have more. Yeah? We can't imagine.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. See you. All the best. Bye.